Hey, it's me, unapologetically T, and I've been getting the best rest. Um, so I haven't done any videos in a couple of days. I do got an art project I want to start, but I'm trying to get some other stuff in order before I start buying stuff. But I did that poem Mirrors, and it inspired an art project for me. So I am looking forward to the day that I start that. It should not cost anything over $10. I probably can get materials from Amazon, but just figuring that out. I have been working on leads for housing. I do have housing that possibly might work out, but it's just like we don't know when it's going to come through. Because construction hasn't started, like they're renovating. So construction hasn't started, but definitely we'll take that if it comes through in time. Also, I might have discussed on my other video that I am taking out my retirement. And this shit doesn't work for most people when they take out the retirement and, they try to do business or, have this idea and like think they're going to get rich off of it. They tell people typically not to do so. But however, I have no other options, and I really don't give a shit because it's life, and you got to take chances and take risks. And I trust in God, so I am being led to take that retirement and do something with it. So I'm hoping that will give me. I won't be able to touch it until May. Even though I don't know why they said May, but it technically should be April. However, like the terms of the retirement says that I have to wait a month of not being employed. But however, when I went on there, it says that I will not be able to get a check released to me until May 20th. And it probably will take 2 weeks for it to come. But it will be going direct deposit, so maybe it will come before then. So, hopefully that will buy me some time to, figure out things until I can get stable housing. I feel like once I get stable housing, like, I am going to definitely have more of a peace of mind, that, I could focus on other stuff, because it's been challenging trying to, have a focus without having secure shelter. If it was just me, like I said, I could live in my car and be okay with that, and shower at people's houses and be okay with that for a little while, just to hustle and get to where I needed to go and do what I need to do. However, since I have a child, like, I don't necessarily want to put her through that. However, she could be humbled a couple of notches. So if it do come to that, then it just comes to that. She's had it fairly good material wise. I mean, literally, like, she literally did not know she was broke until, I feel like she felt like she was broke when we moved to Church Hill, because she lived across the street from the projects. Like, she'll always tell me that, like, I lived across the street from the projects. And I'll be like, but you didn't live in the projects. And she'll be like, but I lived across. So, like, it was the same shit for her, basically. However, I do reiterate to her, like, your household, was not exactly the same. And then in some instances, it could have been the same, because we was dealing with, the stuff that Dante brought to the picture. So, but she did not have to worry about, like, a lack of food or a lack of clothing or anything like that. So, and her education was going to always be on point, because I was a teacher. So, yeah. And let's see. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like if it came to that, it would be a humbling experience for her, because I even know, like, this year we gave back to the homeless community, and in particular, like, to students. And we had made these care packages together, and I had to I had to yell at her and be like, you know, get your ass off the sofa, put your phone down before you lose it for a week. Come make these bags. And it pissed me off because it's like, you know, she has these said things. Don't think twice about them. They're provided for her. However, these kids, they don't necessarily have those said things. And I'm happy that I did tell her to get up and, you know, like, because I asked her nicely the first go round, and she kind of, you know, said she was coming, but did try to do one of those little, she was going to stay on her phone and I was going to forget. And it was like, no, like, you going to come do these things or you going to lose your phone. And once she got over and we started doing like a little, I guess, assembly line, and she started asking questions. So that was good. Like, she started asking questions like about, you know, what do kids do when they're homeless, and, you know, how is things for them. And it's different situations, right? Like, some people might be in shelters or they might be living with family. We even talked about being homeless and the school law. I think it's like McKinney veto. So it was really, really good. We also like wrote them little notes, like little inspirational quotes. So like that was like her first taste of, you know, thinking about other people outside of what, you know, the people that she's experienced. Like the people she's experienced have had homes and all that stuff. She do know about homeless people, period, but never really thought about homeless children. Because it's always been a rule for me, because I remember when I was little, like, I always liked giving to the homeless. And I remember one time my stepdad got mad and was like, nah, you know, it was a lady and she had her kids. She used to always be in Southside Plaza, and she was a white lady, and she always had her son, and he used to look like real dirty and all that stuff. And like, I used to feel bad for her and the child mostly. And I remember, like, I probably had, like, $5, and I was about to give my $5 to the lady, and my stepdad got mad and was like, no, don't give it to her. She on drugs and blah, 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 blah. And ever since that day, I never liked that. Ever since that day, I vowed to myself, you know, like, when I got grown, I don't give a fuck what they about to do with their money. If God put it on my heart to give it to them, I'm going to give it to them. And, you know, like, once you give, it's out your hands what people gonna do with it. Like, be the blessing. That's what I've learned. Like, you gotta be the blessing to somebody else that you want to see in your life sometimes. So, whether a person is gonna go buy alcohol, whether they're gonna go buy crack, whether they're gonna go buy whatever, like, I don't care. Like, you know, I'm giving this to you. It's up to you what you're gonna do with it. Not every homeless person is a drug addict. In that case, when I was younger, she was. In that case, when I was younger, somebody probably should have had her son, because she definitely did use him to take advantage of people's heartstrings and beg. And I always think about that little boy. Like, I hope he's doing okay. I hope, you know, that he received the proper help. Because that definitely was a terrible situation that he was in. It was out of his control. But yeah, I've definitely looked back on my life. Like, I have been such a giver. Like, I always knew I was a giver, but like, I just look back and I've just been a giver since utero. Like, I've always wanted to give back, and that's just my spirit. Like, I feel too much and I give too much, and I'm learning now to have boundaries, to be like, you know, right now it's time for me to focus on me and my kid. Honestly, to tell you the truth, I just gave a man, like, I think a homeless man, like $3 or $4 the other day. I still will help people. But it's time for me to focus mainly on my child and myself. And I am learning to be okay with that. It was hard to get to this point. And just to be able to say that and not feel like I'm being selfish. And, but yeah, that's kind of like where I'm at right now. It's like just honing in my attention on, you know, what me and the kid needs. Like I said, I have been resting and it feels good. It's another lesson too I learned just a couple of days ago too, that I think helped me rest too. But just like I was used to wanting to have things my way. I look at it like rejection, like with another friend, like I talked about it, and it's like rejection. I don't like rejection, and it comes from childhood. But what I really think it is that I like to have my own way. What I want it. And I think because I was deprived as a child of not being able to have what I wanted. Not, you know what, I'm not gonna even just say always what I wanted, but like what I needed. And I think emotionally, right? It's not that I did not have, clothes or food growing up, but emotionally, I did not have needs met. And emotionally, I did not, my parents, neither one of them could provide what I needed emotionally because they were both emotionally, unavailable. And so what I'm learning is in my adulthood and in my early teens and adulthood, so I say early teens through adulthood, like I always felt like, I was going to make things the way I wanted or fill those needs and voids myself. And having issues with taking no for an answer. So I think in the beginning of this whole video documentation, I don't know what to call it, but I've expressed that I've lost my train of thought because a message popped up. I had expressed that. So we were talking about my needs, not getting what I wanted, rejection. I think I have expressed in the beginning of the videos that, like, I have a hard time with accepting no for an answer. Or like what I would say is, all right, I consider myself a seer and a healer, and like when I get certain visions, that this is like, some people call them dreams, but when I get certain visions or like certain things that I see for myself, so that would be future thinking, right? And but in the present, you don't have the answers and the steps to how those things are going to come to fruition. You literally are, figuring this thing out as you go. And that's painful for me. So like if things did not happen the way I felt like they should happen, I would try to force puzzle pieces. And I think that's what I said like in the beginning of these video documents. But I would like force things. And it's funny because that's one of the things I'm learning too. Like Dante and I definitely held mirrors up to each other in our relationship. And it's a lot of parts of him that definitely I struggle with. He used to do that shit worse than I did. Like he really couldn't take no for answers. Like if I tried maybe like 2 or 3 times and no is still the answer, like I do click and get like, oh, God telling me that's not for you, or it's not for you right now. However, with him, he definitely was going to take some razor blades and he was going to make sure that he was going to cut and dissect that puzzle piece and make sure it fit perfectly. But then what ends up happening is you got to deal with these consequences because that puzzle piece was never meant to fit in the first place. So that's what he always had to deal with. Whereas in my end, if I try to force some shit too much in the beginning, and it shows me in the beginning like it's not meant to be, what I do is mourn the loss of, that said thing happening for me the way I wanted it to happen, and I move the fuck on. Whereas in him, he couldn't move on. He did not know how to initially cope with things. So I used to try to help him with that. But as you see, it's an issue with me too. So I'm starting to realize that on a bigger scheme. Like, I was not able to verbalize that or, you know, process that as what it was back then. Now I'm able to see, like, you know, sometimes a no means not right now. Sometimes a no means it's not meant for you. Like, some shit just not meant for you, and you got to be okay with that. And I'm learning, you know, that I am a mature adult now. Like, I'm feeling it. I don't feel like I am dealing with little, well, I'm not gonna say little girl, because I feel like that's demeaning. I feel like underdeveloped emotions, like I was at first. I feel like I have definitely sat down and faced myself, and I've done some really hard work. And, you know, like, I'm learning that, like, I'm okay with the parts of me that did not show up right. Like, I never wanted to face them, but I'm happy I did. Like, we can coexist together. That does not mean that things does not affect me when they're happening. They do affect me while they're happening, but it's just like, you know, how much time am I gonna spend on letting this affect me? You know, how much time do I waste crying over spilled milk instead of cleaning up the spilled milk and going on to what's next, or being grateful for the other 4 cups I have? So, you know, it's all about my thinking and changing my thinking and rewriting my thinking, and it's working. It's hard work, but it's working. It does provide for a much more positive environment. But yeah, like, so I had to deal with that this week. And when it happened, it hurt, but it didn't hurt like it used to in the past. Like, it used to be like, it's the end of the world, and, you know, like, nothing else matters, and, like, it's just this doom thinking. And, like, it wasn't like that for me this time. Like, I felt real proud of myself. Like, I'm growing up. Like, girl, you growing up. And yeah, I'm just happy for myself. And I keep telling people, like, the house is on fire, but, like, I'm waiting for all the ashes, and, you know, make something great out of that. And I just felt like I've always been the phoenix, and I will continue to be the phoenix that rise out of the ashes. Cause I really have to reiterate, like, this shit is a walk in the park. I used to be so scared of facing myself, but in all actuality, this was way easier than me fighting some other people's demons and dealing with other people's issues. So I definitely feel like facing myself has been way more beneficial. I get to reap the benefits. We get to be whole. And I like I said, the rest. It seems like each time I get over an obstacle, I get to rest. And it's so rewarding. Like, it's so rewarding. Because I struggle with insomnia, like, since I had Charlotte. Like, I have not slept proper for more than 3 months. It got worse when me and Dante got together. Like, it got worse. Well, not in the beginning, but, like, when we were, like, in the thick of things. Probably, like, maybe year 4 or 5. So it got worse during that part. And one of the things, too, I've learned through my narcissistic abuse recovery group, which I miss y'all. So if any of y'all are watching this, like, I miss y'all so much. But you know what? I just can't. It be too many energies in the room, and I'm not there yet. Like, I'm dealing with my own. But, you know, I definitely will be making appearances when I do feel better, healthier, I would say. Also, when I have had a nice long vacation from all of this, that's when I'll probably pop back in. But I love what y'all doing over there. Keep doing it. But I learned from there, like, narcissists will sleep deprive you. And you can get sleep deprived by being with a narcissist. It definitely is a benefit for them, right? So if you're sleep deprived, you can't think straight. You can't think clearly. You cannot make the right decisions. So always. So I definitely realized that, because as soon as I left the relationship that year, the first 3 months, I did not get the proper sleep. I'm going to say that. I didn't get the proper sleep, but I started to go back to sleep at a normal time. So I would go to sleep at, like 9 or 10 and wake up when I'm supposed to wake up in the morning. And it felt so good. And I did that for like 3 months straight. And then, of course, abuse started revving up again. Abuse was revving up at that time, period, but it just got really out of hand. Sleep pattern was all fucking thrown off, and I'm doing 1,000,001 things, so I'm getting like lack of sleep. Then he ends up dying, and I don't think I slept much at all. And I really don't think I slept much at all. And I really wished I would have had a loving family member that could have been by my side and advocated for me, because I definitely had to make some decisions by myself that I should not have been making by myself. I definitely was in a vulnerable state, right? I feel like if anybody who, hears this, that knows what it's like to be in a vulnerable state, and you're an empath, you're a healer, you're a seer, like, you definitely can get taken advantage of. Your boundaries are shit, and your decision making is not that great. So I definitely wish I would have had a loving, emotionally protective person, there by my side. But like most of the loving, protective people that were in my life definitely had their own lives. My mother is protective, but is just overbearing protective, and she definitely wasn't emotionally available. She definitely was making me feel worse. So, and my sister also, that's another one of my protectors, but definitely had turned into one of my harmers. So the two people that I wish could have been there for me, I definitely had to cuss. Well, my sister had to cuss out, and then my mom, I had to tell her she had to leave. So I definitely felt like I was by myself and alone, and I got no rest. One of my coworkers, God bless her heart, she did come over one day and sat over here for a couple of hours, and I was able to go to sleep. So I do appreciate that. But like a lot of other people that was in my life, like I was not able to verbalize like, hey, I just need somebody to come over here and sit with me. I was not able to verbalize that at times. And I don't think I should have been able to have to like just verbalize all these different things, being that for 33 years, I was emotionally unavailable. Like, I was taught to be emotionally unavailable, like, whereas in deep down inside, like, I was nothing of the sort. I was actually very over emotional, like, definitely needed some balance, but, yet was taught to, like, have no feelings at all. So I wasn't able to verbalize what I need. It feels safe doing it. So, because growing up, it wasn't about what I needed. It was about, this is what you was going to get. And so I did not get proper rest then. I did get some sleep once I went into the hospital. Which is ironic, because usually it's hard for me to sleep in the hospital, but I got some sleep. And then it was like I came back home, and the whole still had to deal with my mom, her being here, and it was like it wasn't help, it was more stress, and it was because she wasn't feeling well, and I just wish she would have stayed at home if she wasn't feeling well. Like, I would much rather us have this open communication about like, hey, look, I cannot be there for you because I can't be there for myself. And that would have been fine with me, instead of being here for me and making me feel worse. So when I came out of the hospital, so basically what I'm trying to say is I have not had consistent sleep for a very long time. And I feel like I'm starting to realize, like, with one of the group members, she's actually one of the leaders. She was like, when you get out of a narcissistic abuse relationship, like, you literally just sleep. You literally sleep for days. you literally like sleep. And I'm starting to finally realize what she was talking about, because at first I was like, what is she talking about? Like, I have not had that moment where I'm just like sleeping. And I'm finally having that moment where I'm just sleeping. And I do feel guilty sometimes. Like, I feel like I should be doing something. But then it's like, girl, you've been through hell and back. If you don't get this rest and let your body and your mind, your spirit stuff heal, like, you better not do that. And then you give other people grace when they want to take breaks and they want to rest. Like, you better enjoy this rest. So, like, I finally think I'm getting to a point where, like, my body is finally realizing, like, I'm safe. And I say that because, you gotta understand that when I left Dante, there was a sense of I wasn't safe. Like, I wasn't safe from him. And then there was also this level of he protected me from everybody else that would possibly hurt me. So when he died, I did get this sense of I'm safe from him, but it's like I'm not safe from these other people or things anymore. So, like, it had took away my sense of safety. And I am coming to terms with, like, God is my protector. Like, I don't have to, rely solely on a man to do it. God was still my protection, and he surely has been. And I think once I started to be okay with that, like, because he had been my protector for 11 years, like, my physical protector, like, he did not allow for anybody to fuck with me. And even though he did fuck with me all the time, so I definitely like, arguments I would have had with my mom or my sister, like, he would have told me to stop. He definitely was, like, more logical in argument department. Like, that nigga don't argue. That's one thing I can't say. I was a verbal abuser. He did verbal abuse at times, but it was very rare. But, like, far as raising a voice, that's why he kind of got scared in the end, because he started, like, doing intimidating stuff like that. But which let me know he was losing control, because that was just something he did not do. Like, he did not believe in men, yelling. Like, he definitely had a deep ass voice, and when he said stuff, like, you definitely could hear that he wanted to be said. But, like, just fucking going back and forth with me as a female, no, he would never do that. And so he did not, like, he kind of taught me, like, to cut that bitch shit out. Like, mean what you say what you mean, and stand on it. And, however, though, when he died, like, I felt like I was holding in a lot. So if you got something of it, then you probably deserved it. So, yeah. I definitely had a confusing grieving cycle with him. And when I say confusing grieving cycle, like, I feel like grieving never ends. Like, there's, like, I can't even lie. Like, there's moments where I was, like, the other day I was in the car, and I do not know what made me think of him, but I mean, we lived in this city for 11 years together. Like, anything can make me think of him. But, like, something made me think of him. And at first I was, like, trying to deny it. I was like, no, you don't need to be crying. Like, you need to get over this. And then it was like, bitch, you've been with him for 11 years. Like, let that shit out. The more you let it out, the easier it's gonna get. So, like, now I'm just okay with allowing myself to feel. Like, I have thousands of pictures of him. Like, I get bombarded by memories every day, and some of them make me cry, some of them make me smile, some of them, I've had pictures of him being a horrible little person, and I debate on whether I should delete those. And then sometimes I was like, no, you need to remember everything as it is. And then maybe one day I will get to the point where I'll delete those. But yeah, it's like I'm just letting this process be what it is. But just mostly learning that this whole journey of life for me has been that I needed to find myself again. Not even say this whole one, but like I needed to find myself for this awakening. I needed to figure out who I was again, and I realized like I'm a lot of things that cannot be pinpointed, boxed in. Shit, you don't even know who you're gonna get for the day. So much fun with me. I'm very goofy, as you can see on camera. I love to laugh. I will laugh at my pain. I feel like I feel like for me, I have to. If I can't find the funniness in this shit, like it's just gonna drag my spirit. So you definitely will see me laughing a lot at stuff that maybe you don't find funny, but hey, I do. So, I mean, shit, so much shit is going on in this world. You're gonna have to find something to laugh at. Like prayers to, you know, Marilyn. I'm very sad about what happened. I have not done any research on it. I just don't feel like going down any more rabbit holes. You know, I'm still going in my own rabbit holes. So, you know, like I have vowed to not go into too many other rabbit holes that I have not already been in. So I will say prayers, you know, for any family, friends, loved ones, who were affected by that. And you know, like it's just so much. Like I have minimized my political stuff right now just because it pisses me off. Like America's a shit show right now. And everybody's watching and how weak we are, but let's not go there. So, you know, I had to limit that because that definitely intellectually is just like, what the fuck? And I definitely have some views on how we can do it better when it's time for us to do it better. Put me at the round table. And but I don't want to be a politician. But you can put me